Every election year has its October surprise. 1 week into the month, we've already had a bunch of them. Welcome to MOMocrats MOMochat, part of the DemCast family of podcasts. I'm Donna Schwartz with Karoli of crooksandliars.com. And we honestly can't remember if Eliza is off today or not. So maybe she'll join us. And maybe she's traveling.
Eliza, if you're out there.
We're thinking of you, honey.
Yeah.
But on Twitter yesterday, I just laughed. Somebody said that we need to have an October advent calendar because every
Seriously.
day we're getting something new.
It's about damn time, too. I just want to say, I mean, like, why aren't we, well, we can talk about all of this later. There's lots of October surprises, all of which are, well, most of which are against Republicans, although I would say that the Saudis cutting back their oil production by 2 million barrels is certainly an October surprise for our side of things.
Yes, and of course, the Hunter Biden deserves charges thing, that also.
So the Hunter Biden thing is like, again, leaky FBI dude.
Of course, it's
You know,
exactly what happened in 2016. These are
exactly
the same FBI agents who pushed Comey into making his declaration and, lost us the election, and they think they can do it again. But
right.
I think that everybody is wise to them now, or I hope everybody's wise to them now.
I think that people are wise to them now too. I mean, the thing is, Hunter Biden's not running for office.
Nope.
He's never been running for office. There's
Nope.
I mean, there's no correlation. It's not like Hunter Biden did a thing and Biden helped him. I mean, it never has been. It's always been Hunter Biden this, and he's not running for office. And so,
And
they're just trying to smear.
Democrat I see says if Hunter Biden is proven guilty of a crime, Hunter Biden needs to be, pay the consequences. Nobody's trying to protect Hunter Biden.
Exactly. Hunter Biden will be paying the consequences as Hunter Biden is due. But, for the rest of us, it's like, move on to something else. But on the other side of things, we have people running for office who are actually really bad people. I mean, and, should we start with Dr. Oz or should we start with Hunter Walker? What am I saying? With Herschel Walker.
Let's start with Dr. Oz, because a couple of weeks ago on this podcast, we talked about the allegations that Dr. Oz basically tortured puppies in medical experiments. And then I got cold feet about that because it wasn't corroborated enough, and I edited it out.
Yeah.
And now 2 weeks later, it's been corroborated.
Right. It's corroborated. And it wasn't just, I mean, even one puppy is bad enough, but it was like 300 puppies.
300 puppies.
I mean, and puppies. I mean, who could do that to puppies? Only an evil person could do that to puppies, or somebody just completely amoral. I don't know. I mean, I get that there's a need to have experiments on animals. I do. I'm not an anti, but what he was doing with those puppies was inhumane. It wasn't an experiment. It was just freaking inhumane. Yeah. So, and that to me says a lot about his character and who he is as a person. So, I mean, that's where I go with it. It's like,
but he's a charlatan. He may have been a talented surgeon, but as a businessman and now a politician, he's a charlatan.
Right. He is.
And, it is killing me that he is, campaigning now that Fetterman is soft on crime, and that message seems to be hitting I mean, I am going to be chewing my nails for the next 4 weeks. This is scary stuff.
Right. It's hard, and it's hard to say. I mean, like, I hear too that message is breaking through, but again, it is not like if you're running for governor, I could see where that's a message that would resonate and be some criteria for how you vote. But if you're running for the Senate, you're one of 100 people, and what you vote on crime is, I mean, what is it exactly? Like, I mean, Biden played the hard on crime bill, guy, and signed the crime bill and paid for it during the election. So, I mean, it's just, to me, it's, if I were having the chance to talk to people in Pennsylvania, and be like, why is this message particularly breaking through when it's probably the least of what he'll do as a senator?
Right. And
You know,
we could also repeat what Gavin Newsom keeps pointing out, in that the highest murder rates are in red states.
right? Why is that? Oh, maybe it's because there's a lot of guns there. I
just,
don't know.
just like
Donna, what do you
just like
think?
this week, the study about how, yes, Democrats and Republicans are dying of COVID at different rates, and scientists are puzzled.
How can that be? Let's see how many of them
When
were
you read the
vaccinated.
article, it's like, well, they don't know how much of it is the vaccine and how much of it is masking. And, how about the fact that Democrats tend to do
That's what
all
I
of
was going to
that,
say. I mean, it's a combination of all the things, right,
it's
that you do.
ingrained that it's like putting two pieces of Swiss cheese together, or
Uh-huh.
three pieces of Swiss cheese together. And, that way you plug up the holes in it. It's a layered response, and you
Right.
need
That's a good
all the
analogy.
layers. You need
Yeah,
all the layers to keep the virus from getting through the holes.
exactly. And I mean, maybe it would be better if they surveyed Democrats, and how many of them got all vaccines, masked everywhere they went, and got the. I know that there's people that got it. I'm not saying that there's not. Right, you got it and you masked up everywhere. Um, but you got it from somebody who brought it home
Right.
to
I
you.
didn't die.
Right, and right, and you got the medication and you were over it in a
Mhm.
week.
Yeah.
And so I would like a study on that level, and then you can correlate political parties, because I'm pretty sure that you're going to find out that Democrats did all the things, or
We're going to find out
more Democrats than didn't.
ivermectin and whatever that thing, chloric,
Hydroxychloroquine.
that's the one, hydroxychloroquine, and going everywhere without a mask and having rallies and parties. And
I'm still uncomfortable about being in crowds. Even I've
I am
had
too.
the most recent vaccine. I mask up when I go out. It's still uncomfortable to be in crowds.
Yeah.
I feel like, I can imagine the virus being everywhere, but I've done it because, I wanted to go somewhere or do something, and
You
I've
weigh
been
your
fine.
risk and you cross your fingers and you hope that you're okay. But, 99% of the time, you're not doing that.
Right.
So, you're picking and choosing,
Right.
your risk.
And I still mask up on planes, because I mean, I don't understand people that don't. I surely don't. It's like, just because I can remember before COVID, like, if you were going on a plane, you were pretty much guaranteed a sinus infection at the end of the flight.
Yeah.
It's
I have
like,
been so much healthier now that I wear a mask
I
everywhere.
know, the same way. But anyway, we digress.
We did.
So Dr. Oz is really a flaming, cruel, amoral person.
Yeah.
We have an article up at Crooks and Liars about him doing a fundraising rally in front of Hitler's car. They blocked out the swastika, but I mean,
Well,
why? Why would you do that?
In a state where the Republican gubernatorial candidate actually is a Nazi, I guess that's just reinforcing it for your voters, for your base.
I guess that's pretty scary. So,
It's
so that's, yeah,
scary. There are
it is
scary
scary.
candidates. The Republicans this year are all pretty scary.
All, yeah, 399 of them. Isn't that the number? Or the
199,
election, huh?
299
Oh,
congressional
299.
candidates.
are election deniers.
Yeah.
Is that it wasn't just congressional candidates, it's
Yeah, you're right.
Republican candidates.
299 is more than we've got in Congress. So,
Yeah. No, I mean it's Republican candidates. I
right.
think that they surveyed, and 299
Mhm.
of them
Yeah.
across this nation still deny the election. And then we have Blake Masters, the Senate candidate in Arizona,
In Arizona.
who basically stood up at rallies and bear hugged Donald Trump and did all the things. And this election was stolen, and if I'm
He did an
elected,
ad talking about how the election is stolen and election integrity is the most important thing to him. And, we can't have this happening. And, Donald Trump won the election. And then he gets in the debate last night with Mark Kelly and denies all of that.
gaslighter. He's a
Mhm.
frickin' gaslighter. Oh, I
Which
said it. I get the F word about the F bomb award. But yeah, no, he's gaslighting. The totally gaslighting. Now it's like, no, I believe that Joe Biden is the duly elected president and blah 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 blah. And it was just mind-boggling to hear him do that.
yeah,
And not because that they all do that now. They all gaslight. They just say they do whatever they got to do, and then they lie about it later and figure that nobody's going to care. I
well,
guess.
I mean, I guess it's time to shift to Herschel Walker just because of all of the people who said all of these so-called pro-life,
Ugh.
anti-abortion people who are now saying they don't care if Herschel Walker paid for an abortion for his girlfriend. All they want to do is win. And that's the most honest any of them have been.
That's Dana Lash who said that. Dana Loesch, right? I mean,
She's the only
she
one.
said that. Yeah,
She's
but
the
she
only
said
one.
it like front and center on her radio show,
Oh
and I
yeah.
just thought,
He said, I don't care if they're killing, you know, soon to be extinct baby eagles, you know.
right, right. I just want to have control of the Senate. And I
Right.
thought, that's it in a nutshell. So it's all about power, it's all about control. And Herschel Walker is their walking
So
cynical example of
so
it.
cynical. You
Yeah,
know, I saw somebody describe him as the black face of white supremacy.
yeah. And I think that was
That's
absolutely right.
exactly what it is because they
Yep,
think by nominating a black man, any black man, no matter how inappropriate he is for the job and just not qualified. The
right.
man was hit in the head too many times. You know, he
I'm
can't
not sure it was
hold
just
his head
that, but
any
yeah.
straighter.
I mean, that was certainly plenty of
And
it.
and how is this race between him and Reverend Raphael Warnock, who is smart and compassionate and so very intelligent?
it how's it close?
How is this close?
So
How is this even close? How is this a
I
choice?
I would, yeah, how is this a choice would be the first question to ask. I would argue that it's not as close as everybody wants us to think it is. And like a just respected pollster came out and said there was, double digits between the two of them. And none of that would surprise me. I mean, if Herschel Walker only has in this poll that they took, only like 6% of black men were going to vote for him. So, I mean, you can't win with that percentage. You just can't. Now,
And
having said that,
they're not
I
going to vote for Stacey Abrams.
well, that's really the issue, isn't it? Is
I
whether the
mean,
misogyny will whether Warnock will get in because he's a man and Stacey Abrams will lose because she's a woman and black men won't vote for her.
I've
The
seen
great question.
her on TV several times this week, and every time I am absolutely, I'm just reminded how good she is.
Yeah, she is.
You
She is
know,
good. I'm not willing to write it off. I just think that, you that there is misogyny baked in a big way. And the issue seems to be black men for Stacey Abrams, but Warnock doesn't have that problem. And Herschel Walker, I mean, if anything, maybe Herschel Walker wakes up the rest of the voters in Georgia for Stacey Abrams too. I mean, because Herschel Walker is literally a walking, talking disaster of a candidate who is, out there, like he can't even have a coherent press conference and lie well in
No,
it. Like, and so then it comes
he
down
was
to, well, I
before.
didn't do the thing that you said I did,
This
but
was
if I did it,
before
I'd be
the Daily
forgiven
Beast.
for it.
Right.
What?
This was even the way he was before the Daily Beast had their
Right.
scoop early this week.
Yeah.
And then the following, then that was followed by his socially conservative influencer TikToker son. Just
Yes.
that was the second
Blasting him.
surprise. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's conservative. So this isn't like he's a Democrat out there blasting his dad. He's, if anything, he's actually a conservative.
Although, to be honest with you, I think that I think he's a damaged
He is.
kid
Yeah.
who is not in touch with who he is, because I did see that he regretted moving to Florida and missed California.
Well,
I
I
think he's
can't
on a
have him there.
journey. I think Christian Walker's on a journey, and that he may not end up where he's been, is what I'm saying.
I think you're probably right about that. But I mean, for now, it's where he is. And he's
Yeah.
been, I mean, if you look back at his history, he's been conservative
He's
in
been,
his politics to the point, I mean, where I have friends who are like, fuck that guy.
yeah.
I don't care that he went against his dad. He's like a jerk. I'm not dealing with him. But I don't feel that way as much. I feel like,
Exactly.
the fact that he spoke out, it just seemed to me like he was at the end of his rope. It wasn't a political thing for him. It was just like,
Oh,
and I can so relate to that. I had a dad who lied about everything and lied about relationships, just like Herschel Walker is lying about
yeah.
relationships, which when you can see it right in front of your face, having him lie like that is just humiliating.
Yeah.
It really is. And I totally feel his humiliation. I do. And I wish him all the best.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. He can be
Yeah.
both a jerk and a
Hmm.
kid who went through a lot of emotional trauma in his family, and it's very difficult to rebel against your upbringing when you've had a narcissistic parent who
Right.
treated you badly growing up.
Right. Exactly. So, but Herschel Walker is just digging himself and digging himself and digging himself, and to the point where Warnock doesn't have to do anything, right? I mean, Warnock is out there meeting people, and like this is an example of actually where he can go high, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Because of, first of all, it's Reverend Senator Warnock, so
Yeah.
we have the Reverend in there. Which honestly, I saw read this week when Herschel Walker said that whole thing about I've been redeemed, but Warnock doesn't believe in redemption. I just literally started throwing things when I heard that, because that is such a lie. I
But
mean, it
you've
is
we're
such
seeing
a
it
lie.
repeated in the right-wing media,
Uh-huh.
where they're saying that, Reverend Warnock doesn't believe in Christianity, and it's like, or they're saying Senator Warnock, and it's like, the man
The man,
Martin
Christian
Luther
minister.
King's church. He was the
I know. I mean, this is I just, and to say that it's so cynical and so ugly and such lies. And you don't have to be a Christian to know just feel how bad this is, right? I mean, it's just, and so I keep going back to, by the Bible verse that says, by your fruits you shall know them, right? And so you have Warnock kind of going high, and when he's questioned about Walker, he says, basically, listen, this is what I'm doing. I can't really speak to what he did. It kind of just separating himself and putting himself above the fray, which in this case he's totally able to do. And Walker down there in the dirt, just lying and lying and lying and digging himself deeper and deeper and deeper. And fuck every Republican who thought it was a good idea to put him up as a candidate. Even Georgia's lieutenant governor is over it, right? I mean,
what
did you
we're
see
hearing
that?
today. What we're hearing, I did see that interview, but what we're hearing
Yeah.
today is that there were several Republican operatives who, of course, saw that he was not a good candidate, but they were up against his the love, I guess, that Georgians have for him from when he was an athlete. And of course, he was Trump's choice. And
Well, emphasis on he was Trump's choice,
yeah,
right? I mean, that basically you have people like, saying we have a lot of dumb primary voters. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you do. And what did you do about it other than pander to them?
yeah,
Don't come crying now to me saying we have crappy candidates because we had primary voters that were rabid because you people can't you pandered to every single one of them. You didn't have to put those bad candidates up there. You didn't have to pander to Trump. You could have broken off from him a long time ago. Instead, they just made themselves completely subservient. And that includes, by the way, Mitch McConnell.
yeah, yeah.
Rawr, rawr, rawr.
Well, Mitch McConnell is walking a tightrope where if he speaks the truth and he knows the truth, then he definitely loses his power. And so he figures he's going to just shut up and let things happen and hope for the best. You know,
I mean,
this
maybe
is
you
like
do what's right for
neatly,
the country instead of, clinging to power and
well,
you
what?
come out
Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney are the only
only
Republicans
once.
in Washington who care about the country more.
Yeah. Isn't
It,
that sad?
it's terrible.
And Liz Cheney's out there saying basically I'll campaign for Democrats. She went to Arizona yesterday and said, don't vote for Republicans here because anybody who denies the election results, you shouldn't vote for them because, yeah, I mean, she's putting her money where her mouth is. I don't love Liz Cheney. We can all talk about the Cheney family, but in this,
She has
she's doing the
integrity,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
I will give her
No,
that.
yeah. No, definitely. So, yeah, so that's our Senate field right now. And in the meantime, we have Ron Johnson, who's got all kinds of ties uh, to
Russia,
January
Russia,
6th
Russia.
And Russia. Right. And he's actually still ahead of Mandela Barnes. Come on. And thing is, Mandela Barnes, dude, hit back.
Yeah,
Hit back. You don't
yeah.
get to go high.
No,
You
we
need to,
can't afford to go high.
right. You
They
need to
have a
be
debate tonight, and
kneecap him, man. I'm just saying. Like, be out there with all the truths. Don't leave any behind. So, yeah, I know. It's
scary.
like, I want to win all the races. One thing that we haven't talked about because nobody wants to talk about it is Kendra Horn in Oklahoma, right? Who nobody's talking about, but she's a senatorial candidate
Kendra
out there.
Hart, yes.
Yeah, and she's like the only Democrat that's won elections in Oklahoma, and she does it by literally going just door to door and doing the Doug Jones kind of campaign and everything. And she's actually close. I mean, if women come out, she could win that.
Wow.
So that's yeah, right. And same for Sherry Beasley
Yeah.
in North Carolina, another one that nobody's really talking about.
You're finally paying attention to Sherry Beasley.
That's good. In the meantime, our Florida candidates who should be doing well are not doing well at all, and part of that's the hurricane, right? I mean, did I just have to say it was fun to watch Ron DeSantis look like he swallowed a bug when he had to like go with Biden to all these places. And Biden was just like heaping the coals of fire on his head. I don't know if anybody watched this, but he's like, Ron DeSantis is standing behind him and he's saying, how much, how the federal government is here to help. And we've been with the governor at every stage and blah, blah, blah. And, I don't think anybody can deny anymore that climate change is real. And he says it with DeSantis right behind him, right? And DeSantis is like, and then later they caught him on a hot mic, basically talking to the mayor of, I don't know, one of the cities down
Fort
there,
Myers, I think.
who's a friend or something, and said basically, you don't fuck with a Biden.
Well, to DeSantis's credit, he didn't badmouth Biden while he was getting his assistance, his federal aid. He also didn't do what Chris Christie did and give him a hug, you know?
Right.
You know?
He did wear a pair of pristine white boots, though.
Well, those were boots.
Okay, if you
Oh,
haven't
so
seen
memeable.
the Ron DeSantis in white boots meme, please just go and look now. You can't unsee some of them. The Dallas Cowboys cheerleader costume is one that you'll never forget after you've seen it once.
I like the Ron DeSantis in the Bernie chair with the boots.
That was funny too. Or
Yes.
the hip high boots were pretty funny
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, lots of Ron DeSantis in white boots memes
And
to go and
Nancy
enjoy.
Sinatra illusions.
Yes.
So,
She was on it, man. I think she
oh, I
was.
love her.
Yeah, no, she's awesome. So, yes, anyway, poor Ron DeSantis. He had to eat crow. On the other hand, you know what? He's ahead in the polls now.
Yes,
Boo.
and
Where is Charlie Crist, man?
single
Come on, Charlie Crist.
at every single press opportunity, he's wearing campaign logos.
Hmm.
He's directing people to give donations to
Hmm.
charities that his wife is in charge of.
Right. Where's Charlie Crist? He's just
Hmm,
like buried. Why isn't he out there like
I
helping
know.
hurricane victims or something? I mean, it this
Yeah.
is like campaign 101. Get in front of it. You knew this was going to happen. Have a plan. And somebody said, well, he should just suspend campaigning until Florida's better. I'm like, what? That's
Florida's
the
not going to get better between now and the election.
it's not going to get better between now and the election. The best thing Charlie Crist could do is make sure that Democrats get to vote like Republicans will get to vote.
Yeah. And that's what's really scary.
Yeah, I know. So, and honestly, Democrats more widely, I would like to see them being really forthright about what's happening, like especially the Senate candidates and the House candidates. So, for example, today, Marco Rubio, who's Val Deming's opponent, just introduced with Mr. Langford and a couple of House representatives a bill to raise insulin prices back up again, to not negotiate drug prices. And I mean, this in Florida. Hello, Florida. Raise your hand if you need insulin in Florida, right? Because he's going to make you pay 4 or 5 times more for it than you get to pay now under Medicare. Oh, and by the way, that $2,000 cap on out of pocket for Medicare, that's going to be gone. It's going to be because if Marco Rubio has his way. Why aren't they saying that?
I don't know.
That's and they should be running nonstop ads on this stuff. And that's like for every Dr. Oz thing about crime, Fetterman ought to be out there saying, hey, you know what? He wants you to pay more for insulin. He wants you to do, all these things. Basically, bind him to the Republicans. Okay, that's my campaign advice of the day.
There we go. Although I do have faith in Fetterman's ability to turn things around because he seems to jump on every stupid thing Oz says. So,
Yes. No, he does. And he's good at, making Oz look stupid, which is even better. But, I just want him to win. That's all.
yeah.
Come on, Fetterman. Win, win, win.
But, if we're going to talk Pennsylvania, most of all, I want Josh Shapiro to win.
Seriously. But Josh Shapiro's up way over Mastriano right now in the poll,
So
in reputable polls.
let's hope the polls are correct.
Right. Well, and that means getting out the vote, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
you hope they're undercounting Democrats and not Republicans, but the only way to make that work is to make sure everybody
Yeah.
goes out and votes.
Yeah.
So we'll
So,
see.
let's see. We talked about the Herschel Walker October surprise. We talked about the Oz October surprise.
Hmm.
Um, and we just touched upon the OPEC October surprise.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that one sucks.
last week we were talking about how the gas prices in California are at about $7 a gallon.
Yep.
But the rest of the country was doing okay. And then now we get this announcement from OPEC Plus, who had a meeting, and the Saudis are putting their clout with Russia to put the squeeze on the world,
Yep.
and they're going to pump 2 million gallons a day less.
Right. Which
And
barrels, not gallons,
yeah,
barrels.
like barrels,
Yeah.
which is
So
worse.
it's worse, way worse. Yeah, absolutely. And it means all the gas prices will go up. And so Biden is back channeling to Venezuela to possibly reopen Chevron drilling rights in Venezuela so that we have this hemisphere source of oil,
Right,
basically.
right. Because
Um,
I don't know if it makes, we don't want to be without our petroleum reserve. And at this
right,
point, we wanted to start refilling the petroleum
right.
reserve.
So, and there's rumors out there that Trump basically had something to do with the Saudis doing that, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, hey,
Yeah,
Jared's over there
Jared got
investing,
$2 billion from them.
right?
You know, we know that
So,
the Saudis, just like the Russians, would prefer us to be led by an authoritarian government that's aligned with them. And all the
right.
Republicans appear to be aligned with them, which, to this day boggles my mind.
It
And
boggles my mind that they're aligned with Putin, but they
yeah,
are.
yeah,
And they're unapologetically like posing in front of Hitler cars and stuff. So, yeah.
yeah.
I
It's
mean,
we live in scary times, Karoli.
amen to that.
So,
They are
that
scary.
you have that going on. And today we had good economic news, which is tanking the stock market.
I know.
Economics,
Don't you hate that? It's like you
economics is
can't win.
crazy.
Economics is crazy. So the stock market's been up and down anyway, but then yeah, we had this really strong, nice jobs report, and jobs report like in the economic sector, for example, or not economic, manufacturing sector is up. So good jobs, not just minimum wage jobs and everything. Now you would think that would be cause for the stock market to rejoice, to be happy, to go up. People But no, because now everybody's afraid that the next interest rate increase is going to be more than it was the last time. And,
And it
you
probably
know,
will. And I heard Andrew Ross Sorkin this morning point out that the problem isn't supply chains any longer. The problem is not having enough people to fill the jobs. And you know why we don't have enough people to fill the jobs? We need more immigration.
right. That's right. No, we do.
I
And that,
know.
and that's, and that's why it's so insane that Republicans want to like not do immigration. I mean, this is where their economic desires clash with their nativist desires.
Yes.
They can't,
Yeah.
and their nativist desires will always win because that's the strongest uh, pull. It's the id.
But that's also
And
why they want to control women's bodies and make us just be baby makers
right,
so that there'll be enough white workers to fill those jobs.
right. And also to pull the strawberries out of the fields, apparently. I mean, I don't, yeah, so yeah, that's lovely. I know. The stock market's going to go down more before it goes up, you guys, just so you know.
Yeah.
It is.
So
So,
hopefully not many of you are ready to tap into your 401ks,
right,
and you can write it out. And I'll just say that, when we bought our house, our mortgage interest was 9%. And, we've refinanced a few times over the many years and we've taken money out, but our current mortgage rate is 2.125. What
right.
goes up does eventually come
Come
down.
down.
And so right now
Yep.
the stock market is what's coming down. But historically, if you write it out,
Yeah.
you end up ahead.
Yep. Let's
So,
just hope we're not 85 by the time we can use our
well,
401ks.
that too. That, you know,
Yeah.
so.
if you have a 401k. And if you don't have a 401k,
this is a good time to buy.
yeah,
Why
go
not?
open an IRA.
Go open an IRA, get your mutual funds. Buy
Yeah.
on the low, people.
It's the MOMocrats stock market report. Brought to you by billionaires everywhere.
Okay. Well, you know,
Uh,
another little October surprise that actually will help us, we hope, we hope, was President Biden's announcement yesterday that he was going to pardon all nonviolent marijuana offenders who were in prison on federal charges.
was it just the ones in prison, or is he pardoning all the people that
I
had
think
federal
they're all going
charges?
to get, I think they're all going to get the pardon. So
Yeah,
it's not,
I think so too. So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so it's, I mean,
And
the
then,
idea is that it would wipe out their records from those
yeah,
charges so that they could get jobs and
right.
everything. And since that disproportionately goes to,
To brown and
people of
black,
color, communities of color,
yeah.
that it's a big deal. I mean, it's a major big deal, and good for him for doing that, and also rescheduling marijuana so it's not like equal to fentanyl.
Yes, and he urged the governors of the states, because most of these convictions actually are state convictions, and
Yeah,
he's urging the governors of the states to do the same. And
yeah,
this was a campaign promise,
right.
and this was one of the campaign promises that our younger voters were upset that was not being fulfilled yet. So,
So, hi, young voters, he did that thing. So now it's your turn. You come do your thing. Right,
comes out, he can do more. More can be done. You know,
right.
the part where Congress gets in, we need the votes in the
Yep,
Congress.
yep, exactly. So yes, yay Biden. He actually, Dark Brandon he's been pretty effective, you guys.
I love Dark Brandon. Of course, Dark
Yeah.
Brandon got very dark last night, talking about how close we are to a nuclear war because
Yes,
of
he
what
did.
happened in Ukraine.
Yeah, but he's right to say it. I mean,
He is. You know,
I
it's
think it's
true.
it's the right thing to say. And so I was trying to think about this from the standpoint of how it scratches Putin too, right? Because we have some attention seeking going on here.
Hmm.
And right, I think, am I skipping ahead too far to the next
No,
topic?
no, no, because
Okay.
we can segue right into that.
All right. So we have some attention seeking amongst the dictators in our world, like Putin, and we had Kim firing rockets across Japan,
I
which
know.
is
Why should Putin get all the attention?
the attention, right?
You know, hey, I'm here. I'm here.
I'm over here. I'm in North
I'm still
Korea.
a threat.
Hello. Yeah, and then in addition to that, well, those are the two world powers that are looking for craving some attention. And so I'm thinking about Biden saying this and sending the message to Putin, listen, I'm taking you seriously.
Mhm.
So if this is what you're talking about, don't think that I'm writing you off, buddy. I'm taking
Yeah,
you 100%, because nobody should want Armageddon, right? I mean, nobody. The whole point of the Cold War was that you know, we would always have mutually assured destruction,
right.
right? So then we
As
wouldn't
far as I know, that
actually.
is still in effect.
That's what I thought. So, but Putin is kind of off the rails, and Ukraine is winning and
Yeah,
taking back territory and doing all the things. And Russia, I
and
mean, Putin's got a problem with the Russian military
he's
and
got a problem with
morale
the Russian
failures.
people because they don't want to be sent to the front
Right. Well, and the ones that are being sent to the front aren't being given weapons or ammunition or anything.
or trained.
They're told basically to forage for it.
Yeah, and then you saw those two Russian defectors who took a boat to an island out by Alaska and are asking for
Right.
asylum.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's the morale failure going
Yeah,
on in the military and among the people who no longer want this to be their reality.
Right.
I mean, I have to believe that there are a lot of Russians with Ukrainian either family
Yes.
or ancestors or whatever,
Yes.
and this has to just be really hard for them. And Ukraine is winning.
It would be like us invading Canada.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so I felt like Biden was saying to Putin, "Listen, I hear your threat. Okay, I hear it, and I'm taking it seriously. Just as a matter of record for." So I don't know what he's going to say about Kim, but I mean, I don't know what to say about Kim. I
All I
really
know is
don't.
that we're still trying to get those love letters back.
Oh yeah, I mean those and other documents. Holy crap! Well, who knows what he's got there, and the DOJ's like sending all these messages like through the press, right? Like
Yeah.
we don't have everything. We know we don't have everything. You need to give us back everything right now, or else we're gonna search. We're gonna search Trump Tower and Bedminster and maybe Ivana's grave. I don't know. I mean, and then I read something about how some of the documents appear to be like the Trump Russia things,
Hmm.
from the 2016 investigation,
Hmm.
and that just I don't know,
The
that just
stuff
made me
he
super
took
nervous.
was
Yeah,
personal to him,
yeah. Well, or it was dirt,
or it
right?
was,
Like the stuff on Macron was dirt.
well, that's personal to him because he hates Macron.
Yeah, but he loves dirt. I mean,
Yes.
generally, I have to think that anything that he could take that was dirt, he took.
And then plus the other things that were of use to other governments because I still don't trust that he didn't pass information on.
Oh, I think he did. So
Yeah.
today the report comes out that he showed some of these classified documents, which he went to declassify. These were relating to the Russia
Mhm.
investigation to John Solomon, the disgraced
Right.
dude that used to write for The Hill.
Right.
Yeah, he showed them to him.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's showing off classified documents to whoever. So who God only knows how many people have seen these documents or whatever. And I feel like the DOJ is sending this big giant signal through the press, right? Hello, we're going to search you. Even if you are an ex-president, we're going to go get everything we can. And in New York, you're not going to be able to judge shop the way you are here. So you better just turn it over now. I don't think he will, though.
No, he won't because
Mhm.
he thinks he's still the president. He thinks he's got residual powers.
Did you hear? And I heard Carol Leonig today on
Yes.
on Deadline White House say that he still has "Hail to the Chief" played whenever he leaves the room at Mar-a-Lago.
I didn't hear that one. Oh,
I mean, delusional much? I
that
just can't.
man. It kills me that he was ever in the White House. He must never get anywhere near.
Right? Never, never, ever, ever. I mean, he needs to be locked up. I'll repeat again. Keith Olbermann is definitely bombastic, but he's right about this. He needs to be arrested before they can't.
Yeah.
That's all. Just
Yeah.
do that thing. We need that thing done.
Yeah. Well, there was one other narcissist in the news this week, and that's our old buddy Elon.
Yeah, what's he up to? So he's going to buy Twitter, and then now Twitter isn't going to settle for the 44 billion. I heard today that's what he said. So, and he had investors drop out. So I don't know. And then there's more. The SpaceX failures in Ukraine.
Starlink
Yeah,
failures,
or Starlink. Yeah.
which Elon took credit for giving
Mhm.
them so that they would have internet access, and then it turns out that the U.S. government contracted for it.
Right.
So, we're paying for that to be working. So,
Yeah.
but
And
Elon also put out all this Russian propaganda this week.
oh, I missed that.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I was, yeah, I was like super focused on other stuff, obviously,
no,
like Herschel Walker.
he puts out a poll on I think this was on Monday, and he puts out a poll, and he's like proposing a peace plan, which is basically give Russia everything they want.
Right. I did see something about that, and I thought, oh, well, that's
And then,
crazy. What is he
and then he
thinking?
puts out this bogus map of all the people in the areas that Russia has annexed who want to be with Russia. And that was from like a 2011 election that was kind of bogus anyway.
I mean, all of the elections for Putin have been for a long time. So, yeah.
Right, right. The Yanukovych era. And
Right.
and everything is like Russian talking points. And you're wondering, okay, so is he now getting his funding for Twitter from Russia?
Ooh, I hadn't thought of that. Shit. That's no good.
No.
Oh,
It
God.
it was very weird, you know. And of course he continues to alienate the people who are his likely customers for his Teslas.
Yeah, I know that, but he doesn't care because he thinks, everybody is going to buy him no matter what, no matter what. So, and everything. But, I did see some of that now that you mention it.
Yeah,
And I saw somebody respond to that by saying, no, Elon, the solution in Ukraine, the
yeah,
exit in Ukraine is
for
for
them to get
Putin to take his troops out of Ukraine and go back to Russia.
yeah,
And really, I mean, like I keep hearing that. What is the off ramp for Putin? Blah, blah, blah. Well, the off ramp for Putin is to get the fuck out of Ukraine, right?
just turn around,
Bye.
go back to where you came from and leave them alone.
Right. And build a border wall. Do whatever you want to do,
Yeah,
but go back to where you came from.
yeah.
Enough already.
I mean, if you every single metric you look at, this this invasion was a mistake. It did
Hmm.
not achieve his goals. And in
Nope.
fact, it hastened, it made NATO bigger.
Yep.
It made us more unified.
Yeah. No, definitely made us more unified. And it certainly it cemented Ukraine's resolve, and
Yeah,
it made a hero out of their leader.
yeah, yeah. If
So,
Volodymyr Zelensky is not Times Person of the Year, I'll eat my words.
yeah, among other things. I
Yeah,
mean, this I have lots of admiration for how he's managed to hold it together. I mean, I thought by now, honestly, I wasn't sure he was going to be able to hold that country together, and he
nobody
wouldn't
was.
have with the, he wouldn't have without US help, but we had no option. We had to help.
Yeah, and thank goodness that it was President Biden and not
Yeah.
Trump, or Trump would have just let Putin have his way.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it would have been Russian carnage. It is Russian carnage.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So, oh,
So
speaking of carnage.
what's happening?
So we have the Proud Boys, excuse me, the Oath Keepers trial going
Yeah.
on right now. Proud Boys just had one of theirs plead guilty to seditious conspiracy, so
Yes.
that trial is coming too. But the Oath Keepers and Elmer Stewart Rhodes are on trial for seditious conspiracy, and so far, to me, the government is putting on a pretty tight case.
They've
The
got
one surprise.
video, they've got audio, they've got witnesses, and Stuart Rhodes said some very damning things in these signal chats that they also have.
Yep. Yeah, and so there's that, but the one surprise that at least so far I've heard, is the one where we hear that Stuart Rhodes has a Secret Service contact
Yes.
inside, and was witness talking to somebody on January 6th that they have not yet established to be Secret Service, but that's where they're going with it. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like that the government is going in that direction,
Yeah.
right? And so that all that lines up basically the Oath Keepers and takes them all the way up to Trump.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we have a January 6th committee hearing next week.
Yes.
And I would not be at all surprised to find out that that is, in fact, where they're going
Yeah.
with this.
Yeah.
And, we have, and this is, by the way, again, I have to repeat, this is seditious conspiracy, repeat after me, that we can see a line heading straight to the White House when Trump was in it,
Yeah.
and back to the Oath Keepers. I mean, that's where this is going.
Yeah.
And that's why he can never, ever, ever, ever hold public office again. Never. Never, ever. And if Senate Republicans had any balls, we wouldn't even be talking about this right now.
Yeah.
Right? Because they would have voted to impeach him. They would have, 7 more. That's all they needed was 7 more to vote to impeach him. And that would have been that. And you wouldn't have had all the trouble that you've had in these midterms with your wacko candidates. None of that would have been true, because that guy would have been behind bars by
They
now.
would have continued to have wacko candidates because all that's left of their base are the wackos.
But
Fox
if you don't
News
feed that
everything
beast,
wacko.
it starves.
Yeah, well,
Right?
Carlson is not going to stop feeding it.
Oh, Tucker. Tucker Carlson. Oh my God. Yes, indeed. So did you see any excerpts of his interview with Kanye West last night?
No, I thankfully
Oh,
missed that. All I saw were the White Lives Matter t-shirts on him and Candace at the Fashion Week.
yeah, right. And so last night he interviews Kanye or Ye, I guess is Ye, whatever he is called now. And he said, well, I wore the shirt White Lives Matter because, well, they do. And Tucker's like, like the cartoons with the little stars and hearts coming out and
Yeah.
surrounding his head. That's, I mean, somebody tweeted something like, find someone to look at you the way Tucker looks. So yeah, anyway, I mean, we're in a race war that, it's cold, maybe race war, but it's a race war, and Tucker Carlson is beating it.
We are still fighting the Civil War against the Confederacy.
Yep.
It's just the Confederacy is a more amorphous entity now.
True that. All true. Sigh. Well, that's depressing, but I'm still excited that we have people on trial for seditious conspiracy.
Yes, and we might get to see Rudy Giuliani perp walk today.
Ooh, that would make my Friday.
He owes his ex-wife $225,000, and if he doesn't cough it up today, they're going to arrest him.
Poor Rudy.
That's a good one for a Friday Advent calendar, That's a nice
It would be a nice one. I need that with the cocktail.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Like, it's Friday. Tonight is going out night for us. Date night is Friday night here. So we're going to go out, and I'm going to have myself a nice cocktail, and I'm going to watch for Rudy to be perp walked.
Unless he comes up with the cash,
Sooner or later, there's going to be a perp walk. Maybe not today, but there will be one. I promise you.
I certainly hope so.
Me too.
Well, you know what? We have gone through our entire rundown, and we've got about 5 minutes.
Wow. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what are you doing this weekend?
Don't have a Lisa.
I know, right? Oh, you can only fake it for so long.
That's true.
So yeah.
I say we end early. Give everybody a treat.
Okay. Give everybody a break. Okay. Well, that works
All
for me.
right. That is our show for this week. Join us next week at momocrats.buzzsprout.com, our YouTube channel, or find us on your favorite podcast service such as iTunes, Google, and Amazon Music. And be sure to check our Facebook page for updates. This is Donna Schwartz Mills and Karoli saying goodbye for the MOMocrats. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
MOMocrats MOMochat is part of the DemCast family of podcasts.